Hello, what's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing today? Today was a beautiful day out, or at least hopefully it was or shall be wherever you're at. And today is just green hell all over the charts. The candles just keep coming. So much green, we can't even take it anymore. It's getting out of hand. Real quick quote of the day here is, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Very much like that quote. Glad I kind of came across it. The picture in the background now is actually a picture that I took myself today. And you can see them big old giant boulders over there to the side. That was my path for the day. And granted, there was some little rocky beach in between here and there, but generally speaking, I do not do on-trail hiking. So I very much enjoy climbing over the boulders all day. It's quite fun, and the dog is very good at it. I swear she's got some friggin' mountain goat in her or something like that. But looking over here on the charts, let's see what's going on real quick. And, you know, we were generally going sideways all weekend until about 3:30 my time, 4:30 Eastern. And when the markets opened, they just started pumping. And as you can see right now, we're having a little bit of a pullback here after just having this next little leg of a pump right there. And so at this point, I'm basically just looking to see, is it going to continue? Are we running out of gas? Are we going to get like another, 3 legs to this thing like we've had in the past? So that's what I am trying to figure out, because basically as soon as I got home and actually turned the computer on and looked at it, it was like, oh damn, I thought we were somewhere around here or something. So I was like, screw it, I'm just going to open along. Like I did look at it ahead of time. Let me be honest about that one. And honestly, some of these time frames look pretty decent. Like the 15 over here, money flow is still increasing. Although VWAP getting a little bit sketchy perhaps. But coming up here to the 1 hour, we are coming down from over here. But, we're still getting a big momentum wave there. It could be clipping over here at the top. We shall see. But VWAP was still up here when I started the trade, and it looks like it's curving outwards. So we'll see what happens with that. RSIs are coming together, but we were coming together while we were getting this big pump, and they're generally staying together so far. But it is the hourly chart. We have only had this going on, looks like, for about 5 hours now. So I started to, started right around the time when I was getting home. So coming up here to the 6 hour. Oh my gosh, look at that. Just more green hell. Just tons of green. Can't take the winning anymore. But look at the money flow over here. The money flow is still increasing. VWAP still healthy to the top side of the 0 line there. Come over to the 12 hour. Still holding strong. Whether or not you say that money flow is going up, I guess technically it is. We had a little bit of a dip down here during that not so consolidation, and it is pointing up again. VWAP pointing up still. Momentum wave still on the up and up. RSI just flipped into the red. And you can see last time we flipped red, we were in here. Interesting that we had a flip to the green in between this. But I'm not going to attribute much to that. Let's see here. Potentially getting lower highs on the VWAP. Shoot, matter of fact, even from up here. But if that's the case, it looks like we broke out of that. But we do have, rising VWAPs on the bottom side. And if this is the case, then it does appear that we maybe kind of quote unquote broke out of that to the upside, which I'm still not 100% on, what that equates to. But look in here, something interesting here. Look at that guy. We did poke above right there, but it's almost like we have a resistance level on the VWAP. I find it mildly interesting. Come all the way back here. Still have kind of a similar thing going on down there. So very interesting, very interesting. We'll see. You know, I'm going to leave these on here. I'm curious to see what comes of that. You know, how it plays out, what the price does in reaction to it. Should be an interesting experiment. And you can see, have some little support resistance levels going on here. We did come up to this one. It's the 12 hour, so it's not really saying much. But real quick on the daily, still coming up in the money flow. RSIs not only still pointing up, but now came fully together. So we do have some strength to the upside still. So that's a beautiful thing. 2-day. A little sketchier. You know, that between that 2-day and the 2 hour, you tend to get some ugly news. But I'm not going to let it completely, you know, override the picture that we're seeing. You know, money flow coming up. Not bad, but let's see what the 3-day says. And over here on the 3-day, you know, we are splitting a little bit. VWAP still hanging out up there, just crossed into the green money flow down there, generally trending up on the momentum waves. You know, it looks like potentially rounding back up in the RSI. At least I hope so. See a similar thing over here on the 5-day. What do we got? Money flow coming up. Still not quite into the green yet. As you can see, still in the red down here. Similar action with the momentum waves. You know, VWAP still looking nice. Even pop out to the weekly. Keep in mind, you know, DBSI looking very nice. Let's hide this guy just to clear it up a little bit. Damn, how long did I make that? Interesting. Momentum still on its way up. Now, money flow over here on the weekly. Looks like we may have skipped off the 0 line here and are increasing a little bit. RSI's generally pointed upward now. Looks like came together a little bit more right here than we were back there when we were making the turn. So that could be bullish. Should be bullish. Now, obviously, monthly taking a bit of a dip. You know, momentum waves still generally trending down. VWAP, though, is starting to make its way back up. Looks like we got a little doji star. Maybe not a little. We got a big doji star looking candle right now, but still got exactly 4 days left on that guy. RSI's mostly sideways, kind of up a tiny bit. But let's come down to the 4 hour. And we can see money flow looking very nice. You know, we're getting up here a little bit in the momentum wave, but you know, the dark blue still has a good amount of room left to go, but the light blue is the one that's going to be more immediate with the price action. You know, VWAP looking nice still. 3 hours starting to come down a little bit there, but still coming up in the money flow and the RSI, and they're pretty nice and close together. Similar RSI on the 2 hour, money flow looking up, VWAP a little bit further along to the downside, but we shall see, we shall see. We do have, looks like maybe a little bit of a trend upward here on the VWAP. take? I can't do visibility for two at the same time, huh? Come on. Let's say, what was that? No minute charts. I think that was on the daily. So we'll just do that. Yeah. And back to the 1 hour. You know, DBSI starting to turn mildly bearish at the moment, but you know, if we stay kind of pumping with these money flows, it would be nice to overrule that. Now, you know, in reality, we are pulling back a little bit. You know, if you zoom in on the smaller time frames here, and it is fairly strong to the downside, but we do have significant split in the RSIs there. You know, money flow still green, still moderate. You know, it's coming down a little bit, but it's not really, you know, low down here just yet. Pop up to the 8 minute. Got rid of the, you know, don't have any divergence right there. You know, we got the higher momentum wave. Pretty steadily sideways on the money flow. About the same with the money flow here. It's 15 minute. Still coming up. Now we'll see what happens with this. This could be a potential bearish divergence between these two and these guys. So depending on what we see off of this, you know, if we do come down, maybe even do another lower high, yeah, then we could see, yeah, potentially a little pullback or something. But the one part that I do like is that right there. So we're still increasing on the money flow, so I'm not counting it out just yet. Yeah, trade's kind of coming back down closer to even, so that's kind of a bummer. Let's see if we can find something similar here. Let's go out to the 30 minute. So, big old pump. Not quite as big. Here we go. Big old pump. Decent sized pullback. Second chance. And then down. This guy, big old pump. A little bit of pullback. Sideways consolidation. A little bit of uptrend before finally coming back down. Big old V. Just a knife right there. Hard to even compare that to what we're seeing now. This guy, big pump, but we had a big dip first, so it's not terribly similar. You know, this guy had a big pump, a little sideways before coming down. Kind of similar here, except, you know, 1, 2. What do we have? Like 1, 2, 3. Man, that was all one candle. Let's see, this is probably the closest. This is probably the closest one we have right here. And a nice little curvature in and up, and then came down, still kind of upward. Then we had this second little spike here before 3 and 4 making the turn. Then I believe we're on number 2 now, maybe. Yeah, if you count this could just be the first spike right there. I guess it depends on the scale that we are looking at it. Which brings you back to these higher time frames and seeing nice money flow like that. I'm going to leave it open for a little while. We shall see. What do we got? Regular RSI. Yeah, getting a bounce. Let me show you guys here. Regular RSI getting a bounce off of that 70 line right there and slowly working its way down as it does it. So we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know. I try not to put too much, I don't know, too much credence into the regular RSI over there because, you know, I used to pay more attention to it. And there were plenty of times when it just straight up kicked me in the nuts. So I'm like, nah, you know, I'll look at it a little bit, but anything more than like a quick glance and it starts to kind of overrule some of what, you know, you're already thinking from analysis, like between Market Cipher and then support and resistances and fibs and all that good stuff. And I would rather stick to this over here. Definitely tend to do better with this over here than just with the plain Jane RSI or stochastic RSI. What is that one? Regular RSI. But other than that, how, you know, what you guys been up to today? Do anything fun this weekend? Did you guys have nice weather? Shit, it was real nice here. Actually, it was supposed to be like 70 or something. Ended up, by the time I got back to the car after hiking, it was like 85. Crazy. But let's see. Let's take a look at some other stuff. What do we got? Ethereum, what you doing? Let's see. 7, 10, 10. What are we on? 2 hours? Let's go to the 1. Starting to roll over. Let's go to the 15. What do we got here? Cross back. Bouncing to the downside. Money flow still coming up though. So, you know, even with a little bit of downward momentum, a little bit of downward VWAP, if money flow is still going up, we tend to get something like this, or, you know, at the very least, uncooperation. At the very least, you know, maybe some sideways. And that kind of depends. Like if the money flow is increasing noticeably, you know, you tend to just get this like upward consolidation. And if the money flow is just kind of going flat, you know, you can get this little sideways and then maybe a little pullback before slingshotting up. Oh, and you know what? That's right. I wanted to ask, has anybody out there, you know, let me know in the comments, have you guys watched the movie Green Inferno? And I ask because that was kind of the theme that I had going for the little thumbnail here. Between that and yes, I know Green Hell is the video game, and yes, I actually have it and have played it for PC, and outstanding, fun game. I very much enjoyed that. But if you haven't played it, it's good if you like that kind of thing where you're, you know, it's kind of like a survival game where you're off in the jungle. But then there was a lot more story than I ever saw coming. So I'd definitely give them props for that. The story itself was crazy, had big old twist for an ending. Very entertaining. The hard part is you just got to watch not to get bogged down in the survival part so much that you don't accomplish any story. So like the first time through, I had to turn off the friggin' the crazy natives and the predators for a little bit, because every time, like, I just don't have the time to play games like for long periods of time, let alone like over days and weeks. So I'm like, all right, like I'm trying to get through this fucking game, and every single time like some native ends up coming up when I got like pretty much no stamina left. And so I'm like running around trying to fight this dude and knowing that like any second I'm just gonna fall out and go to sleep and he's gonna fucking scalp me or something. And then so like finally, okay, you know, like I get through that, and then I go the next try and get mauled by like a freaking jaguar. So yeah, if you want it to be a little bit more just, I'd say chill, but it's still not super chill. But if you want it to be a little bit more chill and not have to keep retrying, yeah, I recommend turning them guys off for a little bit And then once you get a little better at it, figure out the strategy behind it, you know, then maybe go back and start cracking these dudes' heads. So what do we got here on the 30-minute Ethereum? Still a little bit sideways-ish, but, you know, we're pretty much at the peak, and we've matched the previous peak, so that's kind of nice. Very, very sideways on the VWAP, which is good, considering we're on the bottom. I mean, it's generally, it can be good either way. It's basically just sustaining whatever it's doing, and in this case, it's just sustaining some bullish pressure. Let's see, Ethereum Classic, what you got going on here? 15%er. Now, this is something to notice as well, is oftentimes when you get these consolidations, it'll start to dip, and really it's just like coiling up pressure in the spring before ejecting and shooting back out. Now, it can be hard to tell when that's going to happen. I mean, as far as like when it's going to do that, as opposed to just being a longer downtrend. But, you know, in this guy here, I think the best we had is not, you know, that's not even really divergence. Probably have to go to a smaller time frame to find it, but I mean, we barely even started coming up in the money flow. Really, the only thing I'm seeing is this VWAP divergence. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. Because, you know, I haven't played around enough to figure out, like, can we take a good shot at trying to predict when you might get something like that. Let's see, what was that? Okay, that, you know, that was about the time when everything else started pumping, but looks like Ethereum Classic, for the most part, hasn't even had a cool-off period. It's kind of just been to infinity and beyond over here. But it's definitely something we've seen for a couple weekends now, is, you know, coming in and getting this consolidation, kind of starting to wrap up the weekend with some downward, really just more consolidation at cheaper price, really, before getting a pump. And if we're going to keep this up, which I would very much appreciate, but if we're going to keep this up, and we're going to just start getting into some friggin' like blind, you know, Sunday lunch longs. I'll be curious to see what happens here, because, you know, we started having some rollover, but it does appear we put in a new high. So that could be it. It could just be rollover and keep on going. Let's bump this up a little bit. Let's see if we can find. So we definitely have divergence going here, but it's an interesting case. Look at that. That's, the whole thing's kind of interesting. So let me zoom this up so you can partake. So we do have just divergence the whole way across the top. You know, if you had seen this one, could have gone in on it, could have been a scalp, but you also want to keep in mind we were just steady to the upside on the money flow. So, you know, you can't expect too much out of a bearish divergence with money flow like that. It's just, it's the way it is. And then we came up here, not as much distance between these two highs, and obviously we're starting to roll over the top of this, and at that point, seeing another divergence could potentially be a good spot to go in. Whoops. But in this case, this is you know, almost a good case study, bad luck to follow the normal rules. Because, yes, we did start coming down. Keep in mind, we started splitting, but even then it's not a big split. It may not be something that you would have been looking to close just yet, if nothing else, until started making this turn. And then when we crossed back up, got our little green dot, which granted, we were already pumping like crazy when that happened. So stop losses. Keep your stop losses. Oh shit. Glad that wasn't a cup. But yeah, that's an interesting one right there. So I'm curious what happens with this. If this continues to pump just based off of the whole market in general, or if because at this point it's basically an invalidation. We just had all this bearish divergence. Normally we'd be seeing a bit of a pullback, but we'll see if just all this pumping action can invalidate it. Money flow hooking right back around just like everything else. Let's see, what's Ripple doing? We don't check Ripple enough. Interesting. No divergence across here. Steadily to the upside though. RSI's coming back together, definitely pointed up. Steep momentum wave here. Nice solid bounce off the zero for the VWAP, staying up above. Money flow kind of curving back up a little. We'll see if we can keep it going. DBSI a little bit weaker than Ethereum Classic. Let's see, what do we got in here? Definitely weaker than Bitcoin a little bit. Again, Bitcoin just getting a nice little launch ramp right there. Let's see, what's Luna doing? Luna looking even more bullish. 14.15. Very nice. Just coming into the green on the money flow. That could be interesting. RSI's coming back together. Let's see. It'd be nice to get those RSI's breaking up into the upper half over here. Could be nice. Could be a nice week for Luna. Polkadot. Polkadot looking very much like Bitcoin. Very much indeed. Cardano. Off the back of a nice week. Big old money flow. Looks like pop back up to that level. No divergence. Solana. Let's see. Solana weakening a little bit here. Going from 16 to 11. Potentially weakening. I'm not going to say it is for sure. We are still higher candle. Broke these highs. Now, depending on where this momentum wave goes, could potentially have some large bearish divergence, for it to come down like that. So something to keep an eye out for over here on Solana. See what's going on with this. That may or may not even be a good trend line right there. Actually, it could be. The fuck's the end of this here? It would make more sense, something like that. And the reason why is, at least at that point, he hit, came off, broke through, came back, retested before continuing up. Either that or I really haven't like done much to draw this, but you know, could potentially be here. Maybe that's the retest. Let's see, where was the volume at? Pump up the volume. So not really breakout volume over here, but we did have it right here. So it could be that this line is a little more indicative of the trend that we were in. And if you look at it, no, it's not quite a parallel trend, that channel, but you know, came in from the top, came out to the top. Be a bit of a reversal pattern. Let's see where else we going. V-chain was doing good. Look at that. Look at that. Where were we from the beginning here? 80%. I very much appreciate that V-chain. I should probably check my portfolio. It is going to like that quite a bit. Where are we at here? Not quite getting a higher high over here. Definitely got bearish divergence right here. So we shall see. Oh man, what's that RSI doing? It's kind of flaky, kind of choppy. Still generally going up. Got a nice little support level on the RSI right there, so we'll see what happens with that, although it is a bit divergent on the highs. Nasty looking little VWAP right there, just peaked over the top and potentially pulling back down. Just, you know, a little spike right there and then Hey, speaking of, let's see, what are we at now? 6.12% on the trade. That's what we'd like to see. Let's check up on that real quick. There we go. There we go. 13. Let me see them 15s. It's still divergent right here. VWAP crossing back. Let's see if it turns into anything, but that money flow is still good. That money flow is still good. Show me that money. Let's see, Phantom. Let's jump out. Let's do the hourly. And generally kind of trending upward throughout the whole weekend. It's almost double top-ish. Let's see, what about... It's a little early still, but potentially bearish divergence between these two. See, money flow just kind of bouncing around sideways, not doing anything spectacular. It's kind of pumping with everybody else, but had a bit of a pullback that kind of fucked up its chart a little bit. Let's see, Rune. Oh yeah, that's right. I made a note of something I wanted to see. Okay, so we were there. I gotta remember what we were looking at. Okay, we had pumped up, pulled back a little bit, and we're still kind of spiking. And I drew this when we were on that candle. Now, what the hell was I looking at? Probably should have left a more descriptive note. But especially for my traders out there watching, this is a really good thing to do. I just suggest maybe doing it a little bit better than I did. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I want to say, I think I was looking at this fib level up here, and you know, RSI was still generally heading up, but we had a VWAP cross to the downside, and we were slowly going down in the VWAP, but largely sideways action. And money flow is just kind of skating along at the same level. RSI is tight. So, this could potentially be what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Pump followed by, pullback, some volatility spikes, but generally upward. Looks like we did have one more pullback right to that moving average before a big old spike to the upside. Now, hard to say if that's what we'll see. Keep in mind, this is Rune. It's not exactly giant market cap. Then strong pullback back to about the 50 point on that initial pump before almost coming back to the fib level. Then kind of fell flat just off of the last bit of pump action today. So right there was where everybody else was pumping, and it did not quite make what everything else was making. Let's see, money flow was, deep in the red too at the time, so that didn't help. We are heading up though. It's not equaling much over here. Definitely divergent, even just amongst this right here. So we're getting higher highs, definitely lower highs. Super sketchy RSI, that's for sure. So maybe we're out of gas for a little while. I had a hell of a week. Could be we're coming at least back to the golden pocket. Maybe a little double bounce before it continues. Who knows? Hard to tell with these tokens. Let's see what's Tessie doing. Not bad. Nice and steady. What do we have? Nice little 25%. Beautiful curvature right there. Got like half of a half pipe right there. That was nice. Big old money flow. Looks like a little choppy, but heading up at the moment. Although, and we are starting to see this on a lot of charts. Got some bearishness right there. We'll see. VWAP crossing up at the moment. What's SHIB doing? SHIB not getting that divergence. It's, RSI's just kind of pinstriping its way up. Okay, it's got some gas. Let's see, Adam. Whoa, nice. Very nice. Little 8.5er. Look at that money flow though. Man, came all the way up to the 60. Look at that RSI, just super strong. Just a wee little bit of divergence up here on the momentum. So we'll see if this peaks out right here. Kind of broke out this fib retracement right there. Come on. If you didn't know and you didn't watch my damn Fibonacci retracement video, you can reverse it by going in the settings. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Maybe, baby. I would very much like to see that happen. RSI is looking very nice. We'll see if the money flow can pull getting above the previous level. You know, if we have like a super bullish Monday, it could happen. Let's do Chainlink. When was the last time we looked at Chainlink? Look at that, just steady Eddie. Just keeps going to the upside. What do we got here? Pretty even. So we got about a double top there. Looks like ETH is crossing back up, so that's nice. You know, potentially a little bit of bearishness. Got a little red diamond, 15 on the top. A little bit of a pullback coming. We'll see what happens with that. VWAP cross down. Harmony. Boom, 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 boom. Get your twisted mind. What do we got? About the same thing. A little bit better on the money flow. No divergence. I'd be curious to see the difference between those two when it plays out. Avalanche. No divergence, although that's a big gap right there. It's not quite, you know, they definitely had sideways action going on. Pretty much, more to the downside, really. So we do have potential to maybe start trending upward. So could be a decent week for Avalanche if we turn this ship around. Just to zoom out, give you a clearer picture here. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, higher low, maybe off we go. What's up with Aave? We haven't checked that in a while. Pretty similar. Not quite as much bearishness in between though. Decentraland doing pretty nice. Definitely got some upward momentum going. Money flow holding steady in the green. I mean, it poked below a couple times, but people staying bullish on mana. Similar with sand, a little bit less, but we'll see. Looks like everybody's starting to get a little pullback going here. So let's pop back up to Ethereum. Seeing not quite as much though, not quite as much over here on ETH. Yeah, ETH might have enough gas in the tank to keep trying to get up that hill. You know, a little bit of bearish divergence there, but again, money flow, you know, propping it up. We got this guy going right here. Basically, a little bit of bullish divergence right there. Or would that be hidden? I don't know, how would that work with the VWAP? You know, the highs are getting lower, but the lows are getting higher on the oscillator. If this rolls over, we could be getting lower highs on the top side too. So I want to say, I think it was for hidden divergence. It's like if you're getting higher highs on the price, but you are getting lower lows on the oscillator, that's hidden bullish divergence. I think that's what that damn chart said. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. Let's see. So nope, it's gonna be in pictures. TA, here we go. All right, so if we're looking at our little divergence chart here, hidden. So if the price is bullish on the bottom, but the oscillator is bearish, they're saying that's hidden bullish. And if the highs are getting lower, but the highs on the oscillator are getting higher, that'd be hidden. So what if highs are getting lower? No, that's oscillator. Doesn't really give us that scenario. Generally, when we're pointing down on the price, they're looking at the lows. I'm going to say, you know, it's 50-50, but maybe it's some hidden bullish divergence. And I also partially say that because it's starting to go up. And the money flow is staying fairly decent. So that's what I want it to be. Am I biased? Maybe. But all right, now that we got all the chart stuff out of the way, if anybody's still watching, you know what? I'm just going to hang out for a hot second. Oh, and I was going to show you. Do a little show and tell here since I never show you guys shit. Let me let's drag this over here so we can still see the price. But anybody out there watching, you guys like to do any outdoor activities, any hiking, rock climbing, fucking mountaineering, any of that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's kind of where we started out, because we started right around the base of that bridge. And I'm not going to say where it was. Maybe you can take a guess. I will say that it is a lake where there are two different states on each side. That's about as much as I'll point. If anybody can actually guess where this was, I'll throw you a little prize. But, yeah, that's the Little Wolf. Oh, here. Actually, this video. It's a nice little view there. Yeah, and you see that little harness too? That's actually more utility than just for looks, because there are plenty of times where I've had to literally like use the grab handle, pick her little butt up just to get her up on some big old boulder or cliff. Like even a couple times where I have a buddy with me, and I literally had to like pick her up, hold her above my head, and he had to like lay down over the edge of the cliff and grab onto the handle just to pull her up, just to get up the cliff. So they definitely work. I don't remember the name brand off the top of my head. If you want to know, let me know and I'll tell you. That thing is an absolute beast. It's got the metal buckles for like on the front, like up over here. The back ones are plastic, but they're huge and they've worked out just fine. But yeah, dude, grab handle worked great. It didn't rip off. All the stitching is legit. I mean, she sits there and like she'll roll around on her back in the friggin' on concrete even, or like in the sand, which God, I hate when she does it in the sand because it's got Velcro all over it and it all just gets jammed into the fucking Velcro. But you know, it's got like the little spots for patches, and it's got the Molly webbing on there. So if you want to have her, like, or your dog carry their own food or treats or water or anything like that, it's good for that. Granted, I always have a gigantic pack on, so it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really bring that much. But yep, that was actually, we went up here, up to the left, came up, went over top. Was climbing and hopping between these guys, jumped over to this guy over here. I think over there is probably where that one video was from, actually. Yeah, came up over here to the left, just hopping from rock to rock. Really good time. I enjoy it because I don't like hiking on trails. It just gets boring. So if I can do some little jumping around and climbing and trying not to break stuff, it's a good time. What do we got here? Yep. Took this path. Oh. Let me see. I'll come back to it. So yeah, this guy right there was kind of interesting. Had to literally jump onto that one. Super freaky. And then hop down over to like the big rock over here, and then had to climb up the backside. Came up to the top, sitting there hoping that this thing just didn't take off for the ground. But definitely nice view up there. So That's a good time. Remember, I mean, you know, everybody's here for trading, but at the same time, you got to be healthy in all aspects of your life. So you got to get outside, dude. Human beings are meant to be around nature. We just fucking deteriorate if we spend all day inside of a room, a house, an office, in front of friggin' bunch of screens. That's no bueno. Yeah, nice little path up here. Just came up here to get the picture, but it's nice. Just in and out of all these little coves and inlets. I don't even know how far we did, but it was a solid. Okay, that's the only picture of me you're ever going to get right there. At least for now. Maybe if we hit like 10,000 subscribers or some shit like that, maybe we'll do another one. But and it's not even like a crypto face thing. The internet's a fucked up place. I'm not trying to be out here, you know, doxing myself. Yeah, Zcash already pulling back. Potentially bouncing off there. We'll see. Monero's still just steady. Damn. Getting some bearish divergence over here on Monero. What's Crow up to? Crow's still kind of going strong, but the money flow is a little concerning. It's still not doing much to the price, but that could be an overall market sentiment propping that up. Loop ring. Nobody loves loop ring anymore, huh? I finally get around to looking at it, paying it any attention, and it's just been floppy. You know, you get a little pump, sideways, consolidation for a while. Big old pump, sideways, consolidation for a while. Look at that, just still hanging out right around that golden pocket too. Super choppy down here. Where's this look like it's going? Kind of coming down in the money flow a little bit. Momentum, just no gas in the tank. You know, RSI still just kind of heading upward. Big bearish divergence right there. So I mean, if it stays relatively bullish, you know, that bearish divergence could just play out into a bunch of sideways action. But I don't know, like, do people even talk about loop ring anymore? Does anybody even give a shit? I don't really hear anybody talking about it. Elrond still doing its thing. Look at that money flow though. Coming right back into it. Came right back up to the peak. Let's see, we had some bearish divergence right there. Played out a little bit there. Let's see what we get with this momentum wave. It might be tough to beat that previous one. This nice little trend up here. Just coming across all those, coming across the bottom. Just straight up. Oh, here. You know, I haven't mentioned this since like a very early video. And if you're still watching now, I'm going to throw you some love right here. Notice anything? So if you just took that trend line, very, very, very often, I've had this happen dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Continue out these trend lines, going all the way up to the FAR 100. And oftentimes they will show you where the money flow crossover is going to be. Let's see if it does it again. Close. See if I can get a little more accurate. Yeah, no, there we go. Show the cross. And oftentimes you'll see it become like support resistance on the other side as well. So very useful tool for trying to do a little bit of prediction Now, that's not saying that momentum waves won't cross through it. Absolutely will. Not even saying money flows won't cross through it. But more often than not, it will give you a money flow crossover, relative location. But just that, heads up, it's not going to work on like every single thing. Like you can't just connect this one to this one and be like, oh, wait, it didn't happen. Or that one, like, oh my gosh. Oh, he was lying to me. He was lying to me. He's full of shit. He don't know what he's talking about. This one's interesting. Kind of came right through, connecting them dots a little bit. Doesn't mean anything. It's just curiosity. 16. Not looking too bad, though. We got a nice little healthy uptrend right there. All right, let's jump back. Whew, seems so congested. What are we doing? Looping over, up and over. Well, rounding off right there. 1920 money flow, not great. Getting split every time we come down. So it's still not a ton of bearish pressure. Turbulent national pressure. Yeah. It's not bearish pressure. It's not bullish pressure. It is turbulent national pressure. Whatever the fuck that means. So that is about it. Oh shit. Hey, real quick. And if you are still watching, I was going to show you guys. So that divergence for many indicators, I forgot to show you this for like 3 freaking videos in a row now at this point. If you search it up, it does have this little tutorial where it shows you how to use it and what everything means. All that good stuff. So, if you were interested in, and it's a long one too. I mean, it really goes into some detail. If you were interested in that divergence for many indicators from the previous video, do you know how to, say you come over here, I think it's like, I remember there's some spot where you can do like a control click. No, maybe not this spot, but this is an interesting one. Throws you some support and resistance lines, which you can hardly even tell on this chart. There we go. Throws you a bunch of support and resistance. But if you were to come over here and you go to this little ellipsis at the end, where we got source code. Where the fuck was that? No, not there. Source code, remove. Damn. Oh well. Anyways, if you just come up here and you search in, is it ideas? I think it might be in the ideas. Just search for divergence for many indicators. Oh no, I got here from, here it is. Read more. So come over here, divergence for many indicators. Read more. There we go. Couldn't remember how the hell to get there. So yeah, if you were, if you like that one or it's something you want to play around with, remember, looks like this with all the tags, and you can have it do multiple search multiple indicators for divergences. It's good stuff. And again, just a little update, been playing around with the Pine script. Was kind of interesting. I was going through there. Is this still in here? Yeah, so I was going through doing some of the little examples, and I'm getting like these messed up error messages. Like, what the fuck? Like, why am I getting these errors? Like saying that it can't call these functions. And I'm like, they're like the most basic freaking functions. What do you mean? finally, I'm looking through, go over to, Stack Overflow and find out that if you're using that, I think it was a Codify or something. I closed it now, but if you're using, Codify, this site, and their big old PineScript tutorials, these are for version 4, and PineScript over here in TradingView is on version 5, and it was a significant enough change that, like, even here, instead of study, they're using indicator now, and they've changed a bunch of this stuff up. So I managed to find a good place to keep up with the current version, but coming in the future, we'll get into it. Before too long, we'll have you guys making your own indicators and, coming up with all kinds of interesting stuff. And by that point, I'll probably have like a Discord server going, so that way we could post the different PineScript stuff to it, and you guys can post your little scripts and we can share them and, help each other out. So that should be cool. But all right, I'm signing off. I'm beat. Friggin' did enough walking, climbing, jumping. Let alone, and then came home and worked out afterward, because if you're going to take a shower, you got to earn it. And how do you earn a shower? Well, you got to get sweaty. So if you get sweaty and then you have to drive an hour to get back home, you're not sweaty anymore. So you got to do something else. Got to earn that shower. Just saying. But all right, everybody, have a wonderful day. I'm sure I will I'll talk to you, even if you don't talk back, because, nobody ever talks back. So hit me up in the comments, motherfucker. Talk back. Shit. Ain't that hard. Act like you're too fucking busy to type shit out real quick. All right. Later. Stay free.